Everybody to the March 23rd, 2023 Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Long.
Here.
Ms. Greenwell. Mr. Kleiner.
Here.
Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No.
Number 4, approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 16th, 2023.
I recommend we approve the minutes for March 16th.
And I concur. Number 5, bid opening for Hammond striping project. There were no bids this morning. So I just want to make everybody aware of that. Okay. Moving on to number 6, matters from other department heads or their representatives. I see nothing, so we'll move on to number 7, demolition hearings. The first one's letter A, 5627 Calumet Avenue.
Good morning, to, Mr. President and the board. We have several demolition matters before the board. If you hear an address that's called out, if you'd please come up. 5627 Calumet Avenue. Is anyone present for that? 5627 Calumet. This is a property right just down the block, 3 blocks. The owner is listed as David James Howard. The photos, as you can see, show a boarded up building. The roof appears to be in bad condition, missing bricks, needs tuck pointing. It's a commercial space. The rear portion of this building, believe it or not, is owned by redevelopment. So we're only requesting the demolition order on the front part. If we do have to knock the rear part down, we'll handle that with redevelopment. But as you can see by the condition of the property, we would request its demolition as presented. We do have good service.
Okay.
I recommend we approve the demo.
And I concur. Letter B, 7147 Kennedy Avenue.
7147 Kennedy, I did have contact with Mr. Kovachkov, who is the attorney for the owner, 7147 Kennedy LLC. He's indicated that the owner is going to be paying for a demolition inspection and does have plans to pull a roof permit to begin May 1st. So I'd request a 2-week, or let's go 3-week continuance to allow for that inspection to take place. Is Mr. Luter here today? Okay, so just a heads up that that's coming if you haven't already gotten notice of that. Okay.
Does April 13th sound okay?
April 13th sounds great.
I make a recommendation that we set this for April 13th.
And I'll concur. Letter C, 5962 Park Place, the garage.
Oh, was that next? Okay.
Well, I can go into next.
Nope.
That's the order, okay. Yep.
Yes, 5962 Park, 5962 Park Place.
Yes.
This is owned by Angel and Maria de Soliano Diaz. And there also seems to be ownership by U.S. Home Ownership LLC. This is just a garage. It's in very poor condition.
Yeah.
I'd request that the order be entered and that we bid out the demolition of this garage.
Okay.
I recommend that we set this for demolition.
Actually, if you could, Mr. Klein, if you could affirm the order.
Oh, I'm sorry. I recommend that we affirm the order, sorry, for 5962 Park Place.
Oh, is this the owner? Park Place or no?
Park Place, Inspector.
Oh, Inspector. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, come on in. He had his hat on. I didn't know. Any issue with Park Place? You want it down, right?
They completed already, they fixed the garage.
Oh, they did?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Hold on.
I sent out an email to Madeline.
Oh, you know what? I must not have gotten that this morning. So the garage is fixed? You want it off the demolition
Yeah,
list?
off the demo list.
Okay, if we could, I'd request a motion be made to reconsider the order of demolition and to remove it from the demolition list for compliance.
Okay, I recommend that
Good timing.
we remove it from the demolition list and take it off the demolition list.
Yeah, motion to reconsider the order.
Yeah.
Reconsider, sorry.
That's okay. And I concur. I'm glad you walked in when you did.
Yes, that's great.
Okay, letter D, 6106 Noble Avenue Garage.
6106 Noble Avenue, anybody present for that? Garage only? Okay, 6106 Noble, I have the owner listed as Aureliano Vargas. As you can see from the photos, it shows a fenced-in garage with a roof that appears to be in very poor condition. There's missing sections of gutters and missing doors. Given the condition, we do have good service. I'd request that the order be affirmed.
I recommend we affirm the order for 6106 Noble.
And I concur. Letter E, 2831 Orchard Drive.
2831 Orchard Drive, anybody here on that? 2831 Orchard Drive. I have a owner listed as John T. Wilson. We do have good service. As you can see, the photos show a two-story structure that's been boarded up since 2021. My understanding is that there's constant issues with squatters at this property. The water's been off since at least that time. We'd request, given the condition of the property and that we do have good service, that the order be affirmed as presented to the board.
Okay, I recommend the affirm of 2831 Orchard Drive.
And I'll concur. Letter F, 30 Warren Street.
30 Warren. Anybody here on 30 Warren? Okay, and Mr. Driscoll represents Infinite Batteries. Sorry, Jamie, I didn't see up there, which I assume that means that Mr. Driscoll's client is the tax certificate holder at this time?
Yeah, sorry, Kevin, I didn't get to you before this hearing, but we got the order issued at the January 23 hearing. We submitted the order to the tax sale department 5 weeks ago, so we're just waiting to get the deed. So what we're asking for today would be an agreement that we can get a demo inspection order to proceed with the rehab. If the property is in any kind of unsafe condition or needs any exterior, we would of course do that right away.
Okay, I think this is in Mr. Castro's district, right, 30 Warren? Yeah, so I don't see Mr. Castro. Oh, is it Abel? Okay, yeah, oh, Abel's here. It is the third. So, Jamie, is it your client's intention to start the rehab right away after he gets deed?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess the city's position is just because the condition of the property is pretty poor, that we enter the order of demolition, but we'd stay it. Maybe we could set a status for 4 or 5 weeks to allow the demo inspection to take place, Mr. Driscoll's client to get his deed, and if everything's moving forward, we may not even bid it out. So if the city's request is, given the condition of the property, that we enter the order and that we stay that order pending a 5-week status.
You got that? Can we do, is April 27th okay?
It's good for me if it's good for Mr. Driscoll.
There was just a moment here to look over that week. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I recommend that we affirm the order and stay it and put a status for April 27th, 2023.
Okay, and hopefully by that time, Jamie, you'll have the deed and you'll pay for the inspection.
Yeah, well, regardless of the deed, we'll get the inspection order right away.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you to the
And
board.
I concur. Okay, moving on to correspondence. Letter A, correspondence received from Dean Button Capital Improvements Board requesting $22,306 of CIB funding to be allocated for the Chicago Street right-of-way dedication exhibits and assistance and supplemental agreement number 1 with First Group submitted for approval.
Good morning to the board.
Good morning.
So this is supplemental work to be done on a project where we are dedicating the formal right-of-way of Goslin Street, right, between State Line and Sheffield,
Right.
As a result of the Chicago Street reconstruction overall project. It was decided that we would do what we normally do, and that's put the right-of-way right behind the back of the sidewalk. There's utilities that run behind the back of the sidewalk that we want them to be relocated to within that area. So this is a utility utility coordination services with First Group to help us with that. You have a copy of the supplemental agreement and the funding allocation that was approved by the Capital Improvements Board on Monday, and I ask for your approval.
Yeah, and I'll note that they were both signed by the city controller and the mayor.
Okay, I recommend that we approve the right-of-way permits, funding into the right-of-way dedications.
Yeah,
For
you just said
Chicago Avenue.
Mr. Dean's request.
Mr. Dean's request.
That's
sorry.
good. Okay, and I
Thank
concur.
you. Thank you.
That's okay. Letter B, correspondence received from Dean Button requesting $2,119.20 of CIB funding to be allocated for the City Hall video surveillance and supplemental agreement with Vermillion Systems submitted for approval.
This board approved additional cameras for City Hall on an agreement in the past. Turns out that the software, because of the high-resolution video cameras that we had, we need to upgrade the software, and that wasn't included in the original fee. The The contractors agreed to waive any labor charges to configure the system, so we think that this is a pretty good deal. The funding allocation was approved by the Capital Improvements Board on Monday. I'd ask for your approval.
Okay, and again, I'll point out that it was signed by the mayor and by the city controller,
Okay, I recommend that we approve Mr. Button's request.
and I concur. Letter C, correspondence received from Dean Button requesting $31,339.30 of CIB funding to be allocated for the Chicago Street Phase 2 project, and change orders number 11 through 16 submitted for approval.
I'm grateful to say, I'm crossing my fingers, that this is the last change orders for the $35 million Chicago Street project. You also have in there an acceptance agreement with NDOT, right? So that's in there. This amount represents the 20% match that's required for the project. We're happy that NERC could help with the 80% match. Funds were made available to do the 80% federal match. So this represents that amount, and the change orders are, the document change orders are listed on my cover letter. Talks about some water and sewer services and doghouse manholes, that sort of thing that were completed. I'd ask for your approval of all of the individual change orders times 3.
Yes.
The letter of acceptance, and I will note that the Capital Improvements Board approved the funding allocation for the project on Monday.
Yes, as did the mayor and the city controller,
Thank you.
Okay, I recommend we approve Mr. Button's request.
and I will concur.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to letter D, correspondence received from William Short, Chief of Police, requesting the approval of the demotion of Officer Joseph Martinez from the rank of Master Sergeant to the rank of Sergeant effective March 15th, 2023.
I recommend we approve Chief Short's request.
And I will concur. Letter E, correspondence received from John Vesmar, Multimedia Coordinator, requesting the approval of the quote from Gel Audio for the council chambers AV upgrade project.
We'd request the approval as presented. This is funded by ARP funds, so it's already been budgeted.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I would recommend that we approve Mr. Vesmire's request.
And I concur. Letter F, correspondence received from Chris Gamble, Director of Information Technology, requesting the approval for the renewal contract with Impact Networking for managed print services for City Hall.
Request the approval as presented. It's an annual contract for copiers and other such things in City Hall.
Okay, I recommend we approve Mr. Campbell's request.
And I will concur. Letter G, correspondence received requesting a rental registration hearing.
I recommend we set these for April 6, 2023.
And I concur. Okay, number 9, matters from board members. You have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on to new business. Number 10, letter A, agreement to rehabilitate property located at 228 Condit Street, submitted for approval.
I believe this has been signed by the owner. I'd request its approval. These should now have titles at the top showing at the very top of page 1, showing the expiration date. I thought that'd be handy. Are
June
those?
24th, 2023?
Okay, so if we could set a status for right around that time.
But right before it or right after?
We always like to go right before, don't we, Kelly? Right before.
So June 22nd?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that I recommend that we set this for 228 Condit to June 24th. Or 22nd, I'm sorry.
22nd.
June 22nd.
So it's been approved. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve that. Yeah.
Motion to approve that, I'm sorry.
Okay, I will concur.
Sorry.
It's okay. Letter B, agreement to rehabilitate property located at 1430 Stanton, submitted for approval.
Same situation. I believe it's been signed by the owner. I'm not sure what the expiration date is.
June 16th.
Okay, if we could have a status right before that and a request for approval of the document.
Okay, I recommend,
Sorry, June 15th is the date right before that, if we're going right before it. Yeah.
okay, I make a motion to approve the rehabilitation grant and set it for status June 15th.
Thank you.
Okay, and I will concur. Letter C, right-of-way permits received from engineering, submitted for approval.
Good
Mark,
morning.
how are you?
Good, good. There's 3 permits. All 3 are associated with the new Westlake Corridor train. One being Lyman and 73rd for Comcast. They're relocating a line at that particular area. Another one being Willow and State, they want to extend their closure because they're reconfiguring, there's a flyover there and they're reconfiguring going underneath. So for approximately 4 months. Then another one would be Sibley. They're going to drop a structure in, a train structure bridge. And the only thing is, they want to move it up to a start date of 29th of March. I believe it was the 30th. So, for approximately 2 days.
Okay.
So, I would recommend approval.
Just for clarity, though, right, Sibley's closed on the west approach to
Right.
Holman.
Okay.
So we're sort of landlocked. You'll only be able to get to Sibley west of the track alignment from Holman, and then obviously east of the track from Oakley, or,
Gotcha.
you know, coming
Yeah.
in from.
Okay.
So I just wanted to be clear.
For 2
that
days.
It's
Right.
only 2 days.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I make a recommendation that we approve the request from engineering.
And I'll concur. Letter D, memorandum of understanding for the Hammond Police Department for video access.
Request the, so this is about the Fuses project. I know that the chief's familiar with this.
Yes.
It's a great project for the city, allows businesses and residents to, if they'd like to, partner with the police department with their video cameras, like I've got a Ring one at my house. And so this is the document that will be the basis of the agreement with every resident or business that chooses to participate in this program. So I'd request its approval as presented.
Okay.
I make a recommendation, we approve the request.
And I will concur. Letter E, resolution authorizing the city of Hammond to transfer property located at 5911 through 15 Calumet Avenue and 5923 Calumet Avenue to the Hammond Redevelopment Commission.
Yes, this is additional property that we are transferring over to redevelopment so they can then offer it through requests for proposals. It is actually just right over here, as you can tell, next door. So it's, and we've already actually sent that out for proposals. This is just to allow it to be all in redevelopment's name, so when they move forward with the developer there next door, it's good to go. So I'd request its approval. Also, the intergovernmental agreement is not attached, but it'll be in substantial conformity with what you've seen before, so if we could have that approved as well.
Okay.
I make a recommendation, we approve the request
And the intergovernment agreement?
on the interdepartmental agreement. Sorry.
Okay, and I will concur. Okay, moving on to letter F, order to rescind and release order to demolish for property located at 7217 Harrison Avenue, submitted for approval.
Yeah, due to compliance, we'd request that this matter, it's been before the board for actually, I think, several years, so I'm glad to hear that it's been resolved. I'd request its approval as presented.
Okay, I recommend we approve the request for 7217 Harrison.
And I concur. Letter G, plat of McDonald's Calumet Avenue addition, submitted for approval.
This came before the Plan Commission on Monday night, and it's to create a two-lot subdivision at the McDonald's at Chicago and Calumet, and to correct some discrepancies in the dedicated right-of-way on Calumet Avenue and Chicago Street. And so I'd ask for your approval of this action.
Okay.
Okay, I recommend that we approve Mr. Button's request for McDonald's.
And I'll concur. Moving on to old business, number 11, letter A, status for 19 Webb.
This was before the board a couple weeks ago, I believe on the 22nd of February. We set it over for status today. Mr. Farrell indicated that all final inspections have been completed except for building, but it's his recommendation this time that we do an order to rescind. So, oh, hi. Well, Mr. Luter's got something else to say. Hold on. Hold on.
While I was out of town, Building Commissioner Bob Vale completed the final building inspection, and there was one major flaw that he did speak with the owner on that needs to be repaired. And we just want to really set this for status, maybe for a month before we
Sure.
do in order to rescind.
If it gets corrected before then, could you let us know?
I will definitely let you know.
Okay, so are we doing April 20th or April 27th?
Bill? 20th or the 27th?
Either one's fine.
20th?
20th.
Okay, I recommend that we set 19 Webb to April 20th for status.
And I'll concur. Okay, moving on, number 12, rental registration hearings. The first one is letter A, 6709 Osborne. Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm requesting a waiver of the...
Could you give us your name first?
Oh, Curtis Brack.
Okay,
The homeowner is Margaret Brack, my mother.
okay,
I had submitted and had notarized for me to take care of the rental properties in her behalf. She's 82 years old. We've been a long time standing homeowner, and this last year, 22, it was busy. She's been in and out of the hospital. We kind of missed getting the 22 registration. When I went to go get the 23, I had found out that I never got the 22, and then there was a late fee. I would like to have the late fee for 6709 and 6711 waived.
okay.
Good morning.
Any issues?
Yeah, well, we have them, 6711, we have listed as the owner, only owner of record. It's a single-family home and appearing for 2022. That has been registered on time previously. 6709, only owner of record, single-family home, here as well for 2022. The only thing I have on this one was they appeared in 2011 to appeal the late fee for 2010, which was granted. Other than that, it's been registered on time, since that point. So yes, no other issues aside from that one appeal that was filed previously.
Okay, Mr. Brack, and then am I led to believe that from now on you're going to be handling the situation?
Yes, and if I could, I know it's a customary courtesy letter, but it is addressed to her and her address. If I could get that changed to my address to help me.
Nick, you'll take care of that.
We list them as a point of contact, and we have a copy of the approved authorization letter that his mother submitted to allow him to act on behalf of the property.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Brack, you may not be aware of this, but we usually only extend the courtesy of waiving the late fee one time. So I'll let you know we're going to waive the late fee today for both properties. But going forward, you have to make sure you register between January 1st and April 15th.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I make a recommendation that we waive the late fees for 6709 and 6711.
And I will concur. Thank you, Mr. Brack.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 6948 Alabama Avenue.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm Mary Demashis, and I own this rental unit at 6948 Alabama Avenue.
Okay.
And I neglected to pay the 2022 registration fee for this rental unit. It was just, it slipped my mind. And I would like to have the fee waived if possible.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yep, so we have this listed under the Navy LLC since 2010. Single-family home, we're here for 2022. The only other time previously, they had a late fee waived in 2018 when there was an appeal hearing held at that point. Other than that, there's been no other issues.
Okay, ma'am, I'm sure you probably heard what I told the gentleman before you. This is actually going to be your second time, so please be aware that this courtesy probably will not be extended the next time. I just want to make sure you're aware of that,
Yes,
okay?
I am aware, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I make a recommendation that we waive the late fees for 6948 Alabama.
And I will concur. Thank you, ma'am. To everybody that's here today, you can register at the end of today's meeting if you'd like to stay until we're done. Moving on to letter D, 2456 White Oak.
Mr. Sanchez?
2-unit.
Yeah, looks like we have a 2-unit. The owner's been listed as ownership of the property since April of 2017. 2-unit rental, and here for 2022. No previous issues. However, due to the owner's failure to appear, I would recommend or request that the board deny the appeal.
We're going to deny the appeal and apply the late fee.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend that we deny the appeal and apply, late fees for both apartments for 2456 White Oak.
And I concur. Moving on to letter E, 7522 McCook Avenue. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alejandro Quilis. I'm
Morning,
the
sir.
owner of the property.
Tell us what happened, sir.
I'm a new landlord. I was just unaware of registering the rental. I found out this year, I registered this year, and then I applied for this waiver.
When did you initially have a tenant, sir, occupying the property?
June 1st of 2021.
2021? Okay. So I believe on the finding and decisions form, I left the years blank.
You did.
Yeah, the first time he registered was for the 2023, because we will allow them to register as long as a hearing is requested for previous years owed. So then that would mean we would be here for a single-family home for 21 and 22. So for 2 years, Mr. Close had taken ownership February 19th of 2020. It was never registered prior, so I guess, there's no other issues here other than there is a homestead tax exemption being claimed on the property. So I would just request that Mr. Close fill out the highlighted areas of the form that I prepared so that we can submit that to Lake County. We'll send it to the law department. You're allowed to claim a homestead tax exemption on your primary residence, right?
Okay.
And we're only allowed to do one of those. So with this being a rental property, we need to make sure this gets removed. So
Okay.
you could finish filling that out where the highlighted areas are.
Yes.
And then get it back to me, then we'll be all set.
All right.
You understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I make a recommendation that we waive the late fees, but you will have to remove your homestead.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I will concur. 10, okay. Moving on to letter F, 4724 toll.
Good morning.
Good morning,
My
sir.
name is Martin Carrion, and I'm here for 4724 in Tow, 4614 in Henry, and 973 in Michigan.
So the next three are his?
Yes.
We're going to do them individually, though, okay?
Okay.
So let's start with toll.
Okay, I have family issues. I have to go out of town to see my family. Got COVID, and then I got back. When we got back, my wife got COVID, my daughter got COVID, so I had to stay home. Can't go nowhere. And when I tried to renew the permit, it was already late, so they told me that's too late.
So we have Mr. Carrion listed as the owner of the property for toll. Only owner of record. This is a single-family home. We're appearing here for 2022. However, there have been 2 other Board of Public Works appeal hearings in which both times the late fees were waived for all 3 properties. So this would be the 3rd time. The first one, he appeared before the board in 2012, the late fee was waived, and then again in 2015, where the late fee was waived again. So this, for all 3 property addresses, it's the same.
I think I paid once before. They told me that was my first time. I don't know anything about second time.
Have you owned it since 2012?
Yes.
Okay, well, our records show that they were waived on 2 different occasions.
2012, they waived 2. Because
Waived all 3, actually.
No, I paid for 1. I don't know how they got only 2. But I moved from a house in Hammond to Cherville, and then for some reason I never received the notice and I forgot. And they waived 2, but I paid for 1.
Well, Michigan is a 2-unit. That might have been, like, maybe they assessed the late fee to one of those, but as far as toll is concerned, he's the only owner of record for this property address. On Henry, he's owned that one since 2008, and then Michigan has been, he's listed as the owner since 2002. So it's he's been in possession of them for some time, but I don't believe we've had any other issues with the property addresses, like as far as like any nuisances or anything like that either, but this would be the 3rd time that he's appeared in front of the board requesting a waiver.
Okay, so, sir, you're saying that's not true, but that's what we
Well,
have in our records.
I don't remember twice being in court for the rentals, but
So these are our notes here. So in May of 2012, the late fee was waived, and you were assessed $80 per unit for each address. And then in 2015, that was April 9th of 2015, the late fees were waived again for all three property addresses, for the 2014 registration. And this is the notes for the property.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend that we apply one late fee for toll and then waive the other two late fees for Henry and Michigan.
thank you.
Sir, I'm sure you've heard me tell other people, if you come before the board again, you're probably going to get a late fee on every property. I think we're being more
I
than fair.
understand.
You have 3.5 months every year to do it, so make sure you do it going forward, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, and I will concur with the recommendation.
Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to letter I, 7724 Beach. Thank you.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And my name's Adrian Shabbat, property manager for this owner. This owner has several properties here in Hammond. She purchased this property in January 2021, renovated it, which I do believe you probably have permit records for that. We placed a tenant in mid-April of 2021. Last year, the property management company, we registered approximately 60, 65 properties prior to the deadline, additional throughout the year, registered 115 this year. I don't have any excuses why this one slipped. My apologies.
Okay.
So we have the current property owner under this ARKRUF 7724 LLC. Lake County has them taking ownership in December of 21. So have they owned that since you were saying since January of 21?
That may have been the recording date. I didn't open the document. They did buy it sometime December or January of 2020 or
Well,
2020.
that would be a whole year worth of, like if they had a tenant in 21 and then it would have been the previous owner's responsibility to register it if it's set up in the current format it is. But as far as the record goes, they're listed as the owner since December 21st of 21. It's a single family home, and we're hearing here for 2022's rental registration not being filed. Now, if they were an owner prior to that, and the property wasn't registered for 21, and there was a tenant in April, then they technically would be responsible for 21 if it was in fact not registered in that year.
They purchased it December 21st of 21.
Yeah, so they'd only be responsible for 2022's rental registration.
Gotcha. And we haven't had any issues before?
No, it would be considered a new, new ownership at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make a recommendation that we waive the late fee for 7724 Beach.
Thank you.
And I will concur. Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to 7412 Columbia. Morning, sir.
Morning, gentlemen. This property was
Sir,
owned by
could you give us your name before you start?
I'm sorry,
That's
William
okay.
Hutton, Hutton.
Gotcha.
This property was owned by my mother, and I'm remiss in that I don't remember exactly, but about 8 years ago, she passed away. So I took over that property. I went to get my registration, and then I found out that she was in the nursing home and so on. She hadn't paid that year, so that was forgiven back then. Moving forward, my wife takes care of all the books. I don't know if you guys do the same thing with your family.
Absolutely. Smart
My
thing to
wife
do.
unfortunately has like early onset dementia. We didn't get last year. I took it all the bills over this year, went to pay it for this year, and we didn't do last year. So that's all I have to say about it. I missed it, but I didn't know I missed it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have Mr. Hudson listed, the only owner of record. It's a single-family home. We're here for 2022. In 2014, they paid a late fee, and then there was only one other time there was an appeal granted. But other than that, there's been no issues with the property address.
Okay, so going forward, sir, you're going to be handling
I'll be
that?
handling it, yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you've heard the speech I gave everybody
Yes.
else, okay?
I don't like that I gotta pay the bills now, but it's.
Yeah, I get it.
It's
I get it.
life.
Okay,
All right, thank you very much.
you're
I
welcome.
make a recommendation that we waive the late fee for 7412 Columbia.
And I will concur.
Is there any way to pay these fees like 10 years in advance?
I wish there was, everybody would do it, probably. Okay. Okay, thanks, Nick. Okay, number 13, meetings open to the public. Would anybody like to speak? Councilman, how are you?
Real fine, thank you. Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
I got two issues I'd like to show to you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, the first issue is at a house, the family that lives there have an autistic child in the house.
Councilman, do you know what that address is?
Yeah, 4446 Columbia.
4446 Columbia, okay. Go ahead.
And she is asking if autistic sign can be put on the block, just like you do deaf childs and handicap.
Do you expect there?
Okay, and then the second page is that she has no parking in front of her house at all. If you can see the way striped there, it's striped for no parking. She has, of course, visitors and caretakers that come in to take care of the child when she's at work, and they have nowhere to park in front of the house. So it's marked a yellow line there that house is next to an alley. So she can't understand why she doesn't have any parking there, so if you can address that.
Yeah, Councilman, it looks like that yellow only extends for a little bit of time. It looks like there's a lot of,
Well,
Is that
but
more?
you see that white line there is somehow it was marked for no parking.
gotcha. We're going to have to forward this to engineering and let them take a look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
And the second issue is just behind McDonald's and Taco Bell, the 46 block of Cedar.
Gotcha.
There's always a lot of debris behind there. Public Works usually has to pick it up, and they were asked if they sent them a letter or something. They feel that those papers and cups and that blow from their dumpsters, and they just pile up in there constantly, and they never clean up. So that could be taken care of with a letter or from the legal department or something.
Can one of you guys go talk to him? Okay. We'll take care of that part, Councilman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go individually.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend that we send 4446 Columbia to the engineer's office, and also the second issue, we'll send to code enforcement, which we'll take care of.
Garbage. And I concur. Meeting's open to public. Anybody else like to speak? Chris, you're good? Good. Okay. No, we already did it already. We'll sign it, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Just recommend.
Okay, I make a recommendation for adjournment.
And I concur. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.